The SpaceX IPO is now live at a valuation of $1.75 trillion and I haven't bought a single share. Today I'll explain exactly why, and I'll also share something that might surprise you because as a global ETF investor, I may be forced to buy shares in SpaceX and all of these IPOs anyway, even though I don't really want to. Okay, so Elon Musk's SpaceX has just traded for the first time, with 5% of the company's float being sold at a valuation of $75 billion. It represented the largest IPO in history, and performance on day one was something to take note of. Now on day one, SpaceX opened at $135 a share and rose nearly 20% on the day to $160 a share, and is actually up another $6 in after-hours trading. Now, given the performance and the hype in the run-up to the IPO, there were so many people that said, Mitch, are you going to buy shares in SpaceX? I mean, I was even asked about it by a very drunk friend on a stag do last weekend in Spain, whilst we were meant to be concentrating on bingo or bongo bingo or whatever it's called. We'll brush over that night quite quickly, but beer goggles on or not, all of the kind of excitement around this IPO, yes, based on all of the headlines, is certainly understandable. SpaceX is putting rockets into space, Starlink is connecting the world, and Grok can at least make a picture of me on Mars, even if I'll never be able to afford a ticket to get there. The company feels like so futuristic that perhaps even like 5 or even like 10 years ago, you'd think that this wouldn't even be a thing. It'd be like some sci-fi thing in a film. So it's got people wondering whether this is now like some kind of generational buying opportunity, or is it just going to be another overhyped IPO? Well, you know me, I try not to operate based on emotion, and instead I try and look at what the independent research and the data says, so let me share a few bits with you now. The first is a report from Morningstar, where they say, based on their analysis, SpaceX's fair value is $780 billion, which is still pretty impressive nonetheless, but is roughly 56% lower than their pre-IPO valuation. And their analyst has summarized, and I'm going to quote this, "We think that the company has been significantly overvalued and investors will have opportunities to buy the stock at more attractive levels after the IPO. Now, whether that's a week, a month, or a year after the IPO, we'll just have to wait and see." And look, Morningstar could be wrong, they're just one company with one model, but when you kind of zoom out and look at extensive academic research from many decades, actually, the general idea around IPOs is generally consistent. Now here I have this data sheet from the University of Florida where they analysed thousands of different IPOs from 1980 to 2024. They found that when matching the IPOs to firms of a similar market value, the IPOs had underperformed by 3.3% over the first 5 years. That might not sound like much, but when you compound that on a portfolio of £500 a month over 20 years, well, that results in a portfolio that's closer to £250,000 lower in value. And actually that underperformance over all of the time periods analysed is consistent. So it's not like IPO performance necessarily becomes better or worse as the years roll on. For balance though, it is also worthwhile me saying that this data also does still suggest positive future expected returns from IPO investing. But that's not all. You've also got this piece of research that shows that between 1992 and 2018, a hypothetical portfolio of IPOs posted annualized returns of 7%, underperforming the Russell 3000 by 2%. Now, just want to be really clear here. I'm not saying that SpaceX is going to follow the same kind of patterns in the data or the research which we've just discussed. And what I'm trying to say is that I don't know what's going to happen to SpaceX's stock. It could perform extremely well or it could perform extremely poorly. I cannot predict the future, so I don't know what's going to happen. Instead, what I am saying is based on the historical IPO data which I've shared, it should give any kind of long-term passive investor some food for thought if they're thinking about jumping into this stock in the hope that it might 2, 5 or 10x their investment. And if you're still on the fence, well, let's talk about the valuation itself, because that for me is another huge red flag. SpaceX's pre-IPO valuation put them at 95 times sales. That's the highest price to sales ratio on the entire Nasdaq by a considerable distance. To put that in plain English, at that valuation, SpaceX would literally need to pay out 95 years worth of its revenue back to their shareholders to return their initial investment. And whilst most established stocks trade in the late teens or low 20s on this metric, 95 times sales is just a different stratosphere entirely, excuse the pun. But thanks to rule changes from many of the different indexes, I'm probably going to be forced to buy shares in this company anyway. Let me share exactly what this means for my £150 per month investing series over on Lightyear and how that's going to impact my overall investment portfolio. Okay, so here's my Lightyear stocks and shares ISA portfolio, and as you can see, I've made my second investment of another £150, which I did so on the 4th of June. Now, as of right now, the current portfolio value is just shy of the £300 that I have invested so far, and we're actually down about 0.1% as of recording. Now, in order to explain what's been going on, if I kind of take you back on this chart, you can see that actually the portfolio grew quite substantially actually in the first month or so, being up over 5.5% thanks to the stock market hitting all-time highs. However, since I've then gone on to make my next £150 investment, well, global equities on the whole are actually down quite substantially, roughly about 3.67% in the past 5 days or so. Now, as you can see, I'm investing in a Vanguard FTSE All World fund, which is not an investment recommendation, but it is a broadly diversified portfolio spread across global equity markets. But because of the rule changes, this Vanguard FTSE All World fund will automatically buy shares in SpaceX now the IPO is live. The very fund, which from my perspective is designed to protect me from these crazy IPOs with crazy high valuations, will no longer do so, because SpaceX is being fast-tracked onto the index in as little as 5 days. This could result in many billions of dollars in assets being sold across the holdings which I actually want to keep in my portfolio, from companies like Apple, Nvidia and Amazon, in order to make room for SpaceX, where the funds will essentially be reallocated in order to buy shares in SpaceX stock. On the positive side though, I haven't made this decision out of a fear of missing out, and actually the market has just determined what should be included within my global equity portfolio. And as a global investor, I do want my portfolio to be made up of the most profitable and innovative companies on the planet. I just don't get a say in who those companies are, which I guess is kind of the point in being a passive investor. On that though, with a growing level of IPOs that have some insane valuations, it does make me concerned about a couple of things. One, the risk profile and the allocation of my portfolio may be slightly off. And that's because some of these IPOs are actually being valued in the, hundreds of billions of dollars, some even into the trillions of dollars. And as a result, they're actually some of the most valuable companies on the planet today. Two, if these IPOs don't materialize into profitable companies, and many of them aren't right now, then this could just end up being some kind of exit liquidity for early investors at the expense of the retail market. And that could potentially put downward pressure on my portfolio. Now, I will say this downward pressure on my portfolio at this stage will be somewhat limited. Like if we look at SpaceX, it's only a 5% float valued at $75 billion, meaning it will only actually make up about 0.1% of the FTSE All World. So it'll have the same exposure as companies like Canadian Imperial, Zurich Insurance, and CME Group, and a bunch of other companies that you probably don't even care about. So for my £300 portfolio, doing the math on that, it only works out to be about 30p that will be invested into SpaceX. And I'm not going to completely lose my over 30 pence. But having said that, if SpaceX do go on to increase that float to public markets, increasing it to perhaps 25%, 50%, perhaps even 100%, then at that point, I'm probably going to be slightly more concerned. Because at a $1.75 trillion valuation with a 100% float, that would slot them somewhere in and around Meta being one of the top 10 holdings in the FTSE All World, depending, of course, if they are able to retain that valuation figure. And the real issue that I see here is that if you multiply that by 2 or 3 high market value IPOs with 100% float, of course, then that could potentially work out to be somewhere in the region of 3 to even 5% of your portfolio being invested in these stocks, which would make me slightly more uncomfortable. Regardless, it's all out of my control, so the strategy simply doesn't change. I still remain that global investor and will continue to be one with that £150 per month every month, just like the portfolio is designed to do. It's a quiet, boring and passive way to build wealth, which, if I'm honest, I much rather prefer, rather than being the person who's frantically refreshing their SpaceX stock in their portfolio, wondering whether it's going to boom or bust. All of this is just market noise though, and the one thing that I try to focus on is if I just continue investing £150 a month over 30 years, assuming an inflationary adjusted return of about 7% per year, which is consistent with global equity markets, not taking into account any fees or FX impact, this account could be worth around £184,000 based on this hypothetical illustration, although I must say that returns aren't guaranteed. And of that illustrative £184,000, how much do you think of it is obtained in the first 2 years? It's only about £4,000, or roughly 2.2% of the total outcome is determined in the first 2 years, and most of that is from my contributions. The last 2 years of the same portfolio though, it's about £28,000 of growth, or about 15.2% of the total value of the portfolio. That's the same £150 contribution regardless of whether SpaceX, Anthropic, OpenAI, or anybody else comes into the market via an IPO, and that's the mentality that I tried to keep. This is of course purely illustrative and not a reliable indicator of future performance, but what I hope this chart shows is the power of consistent long-term investing. I do all of this via the plans feature on Lightyear, which helps me to think long-term and not overthink my portfolio, because the £150 leaves my account automatically each month via a standing order, so I don't have to remember, log into the account, or even make an investing decision. And if you also wanted to get started on Lightyear, well, they're currently offering all new customers one free fractional share or ETF into your general investment account, valued up to £100 when you click on the QR code up here on screen, or click on the link down in the description below. Alternatively, download the app using the promo code Mitch and you'll still qualify for that free fractional share or ETF. All you need to do is deposit £100 into your ISA or your general investment account and complete verification within 15 days, and I'll leave the full T's and C's down in the description below. Remember, when investing, your capital is at risk and the value of your investments can go down as well as up. But if any of this has got you thinking about growing your own investment portfolio, well, I recently made a video as to why everything changes once you've invested your first £1,000, which I think you'll find really useful. So to check out that video next, be sure to click here. And with that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.